Before you write your mini script, I thought I would give you some advanced vocabulary for describing people. So in this video, there are going to be lots of examples of idiomatic language, of idioms for describing people. And we're going to look at all of these idioms with a sentence for each idiom. So we've got weirdo, wallflower, skiver, couch potato, troublemaker, creep, big mouth, smart aleck, two-faced, wet blanket, pain in the neck, slave driver, busybody, tearaway, stuffed shirt, early bird, happy camper, scrounger, chatterbox, wimp, Scrooge, Daydreamer, smart cookie, life and soul of the party. So here is a sentence with a blank in it. Cato is a bit of a blank. He never pays attention in lessons and is always staring out of the window. He's always looking out of the window, not concentrating, not focusing on the lesson. I think he's in school. So which of these words or phrases goes in the blank? So what I suggest you do with this video is hit the pause button, have a look through the words, and try to decide yourself which do you think is the word that goes into the blank. So hit the pause button now, and here is the answer. Cato is a bit of a daydreamer. A daydreamer. So a daydreamer is someone who's always thinking about maybe something pleasant when they should be doing something more important. So they should be studying or they should be working. But they're not. They're thinking about what they want to do at the weekend or a nice experience they had. It's a daydreamer. Here's the second sentence. I would avoid Lynn if I were you. She's a real blank and loves to start a fight. She wants to start a fight. She likes it, starting fights. So, which of these words do you think goes in the blank here? There are probably more than one that could fit, but the best one is this. So hit the pause button if you're not sure. Here's the answer. She's a real troublemaker. So a troublemaker is someone who causes problems, often by arguing with other people, fighting with other people, being violent sometimes, but usually just with their words. So they like to cause trouble. Troublemaker. They make trouble. Here's the third sentence. My boss, Mr. Santinori, is a real blank. Yesterday he made us work for 8 hours without a break and wouldn't let us leave until 9 o'clock. So again, look in the box, try to decide what do you think is the correct answer. Hit the pause button if you need to. And here is the answer. He's a real slave driver. A slave driver. That's someone who makes people work very hard, doesn't let them stop working. Here's the next one. Don't be such a blank. You've only got a small cut in your knee. You haven't lost a whole leg. So look at the words. Hit the pause button to give yourself a moment to think about it. And here is the answer. Don't be such a wimp. So this person is complaining about a tiny cut, a small cut, and they're making a big problem out of it. So a wimp is someone who complains and worries about very, very simple things. So they're not strong, they're not confident usually. Also, if you decide not to do something because you're frightened or you're not confident, then we talk about people wimping out Mr. Yusuf seems nice, but he'll say nasty things about you behind your back. He's so... Again, look at the words. Hit the pause button if you need to. So he says nice things, but then he says nasty things about you as well. He's so two-faced. So there are two sides to his personality. Mr. Yusuf, he's nice sometimes, but he's also nasty behind your back. So he changes his attitudes. I'm afraid my son has become a bit of a blank. He stays out all night with his friends and he never listens to anything I say. So look at the words. Hit the pause button. So he's staying out all night with his friends. He's becoming a bit of a tearaway. A tearaway. Now, tearaway is a young person, usually a young man or a teenage boy who does dangerous or silly things or illegal things, breaks the law, and then often gets them into trouble. And he breaks away from his parents. He tears away from his parents. He doesn't listen to his parents at all. Don't ask Zach to keep a secret. He's a bit of a blank. In other words, he will tell your secrets to everybody else, maybe on social media. So hit the pause button, have a look at the words. And the answer is, he's a bit of a big mouth. A big mouth. A big mouth is someone who talks a lot, can't keep a secret. Sometimes we use the phrase blabbermouth as well. Marco is a bit of a blank. He never eats vegetables because he thinks they slow down your brain. Bit of a strange idea. So hit the pause button, decide the word that you think is best. And the answer is, Marco is a bit of a weirdo. So he's got strange ideas, sometimes strange behaviour as well. Yeah, in American English, they sometimes use the phrase oddball. But weirdo is the best one here. Nobody likes Colin very much because he's so annoying. He's a right blank. People don't like him. He's annoying. He's always interfering. He's always talking to you about boring things when you want a bit of peace. He's a pain in the neck. He's a right pain in the neck. So that's somebody who's very annoying. You can shorten it as well. You could say he's a right pain, or he's such a pain. A pain in the neck. That's quite common actually in English, especially in British English. Jasmine loves working here. She's a real... Again, hit the pause button, have a look at the words. And happy camper is the answer. This idiom is becoming less common, certainly in British English. But it suggests that this person enjoys their job, or they enjoy doing something. They're really happy, they're very positive. Just give me a short, sensible answer. Don't be a blank. Now this is, I think, in a classroom, some child who thinks they're clever is giving a silly answer. Or maybe a long, silly answer. This person is showing off, trying to show off how clever they actually are. So what do you think the answer is here? It's don't be a smart aleck. So a smart aleck is someone who behaves in an annoying way by trying to show how clever they actually are. We were having a wonderful evening until Birgit joined us. Why does she have to be so negative? She's such a blank. There's a few phrases that we use in English for people like this, but very negative, somebody who's a very negative influence. So they were having a wonderful time, and then Birgit made it all negative and sad and downbeat. She's such a wet blanket. A wet blanket is someone who spoils other people's fun because they're complaining, they're being negative. You can also use the phrase killjoy. Killjoy, which is becoming more common in British English. Here's the next sentence. You were right, blank. If you concentrated instead of speaking all the time, you get more work done. We're going to hit the pause button, have a look at the words that are left in the box. So the key words here are speaking all the time. It is a chatterbox. You were right, chatterbox. So that's someone who talks a lot. It's neither positive nor negative. In fact, it's sometimes used a lot with children who talk a lot, who are always asking questions. So it can be a bit annoying sometimes, but, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's not boring. Somebody who's boring and talks all the time can be called something like a windbag or a bore. Next sentence. Come on, Bill. Relax and enjoy yourself. Don't be such a... So, this is a guy who can't relax, can't enjoy themselves. So hit the pause button. Decide what you think is the correct answer. And here is the answer. It's don't be such a stuffed shirt. So a stuffed shirt is a fairly boring person, usually a male, who is always concerned about how they look, how they behave, how they seem in front of other people. So they can't relax. They're very self-conscious. They're always trying to behave in what they think is the correct way. Usually an old-fashioned way. So a stuffed shirt. I hope Charlie comes out with us tonight. He's great fun. Always the blank. So we're going to hit the pause button. Decide what you think the answer is. This person's great fun. He's always the life and soul of the party. This is a very positive thing if you're a social person. So this is someone who is good company, lively, fun to be with. And note that it's always the life. We never say a life and soul. It's the. I guess because there is only usually one person at a party who's the life and soul of the party. The one person that makes the party really buzz, really come to life. Mohammed is always asking people for money. He never pays for himself. He's such a blank. So maybe there's a couple of different possible answers left here. But the key thing is money. He's always asking for money. That's the clue. So hit the pause button if you need to. And here's the answer. Scrounger. He's such a scrounger. So a scrounger is someone who gets something they want by getting money or getting gifts or asking someone for things instead of getting it themselves or paying it for themselves. Poonam is a bit of a blank. She gets up at 5 o'clock every day and is working by 6 a.m. in the morning. By the way, in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. So hit the pause button if you need to. And here's the answer, early bird. Poonam is a bit of an early bird. So that's someone who gets up really early, starts work early before anybody else. And it comes from the English saying, the early bird catches the worm. So the bird that gets up really early is the one that gets all the worms for breakfast. Poor Fatima is a bit of a blank. She would have more fun if she just got up and joined in. So this is probably at a party or a social event. She's not having fun. She's not joining in. Hit the pause button if you need to. She's a bit of a wallflower. Wallflower. So that's someone at a social event who just sits by the wall on a chair, doesn't talk to anyone, doesn't join in the dancing, often because they're shy. Comes from the days, maybe back in the 1950s in England, where if people went to a dance, they would have a dance floor, and all the way around the dance floor there would be chairs. And people would sit down on the chairs, particularly women, and they would wait to be asked to dance by a man. And often they weren't asked to dance, so they just sat on the chair by the wall, and they were in a nice pretty dress, so it looks as if they were flowers by the wall, a wallflower. Wallflower, by the way, is normally applied to women rather than men. Mrs. Gonzalez is such a blank. I wish she would stop interfering in my private life. So there's not many words left now. So what do you think is the best word here? She's constantly interfering. She is a busybody. A busybody. So a busybody is someone who's interested in other people's private lives and activities, but not just interested. She tries to get involved in that private life in a way that's quite annoying to the other person. So maybe giving out their opinions about this person's private life, or interfering, as in the sentence. So she's a busybody. So it's a negative thing. Martha isn't ill. She's not at work today because she's too lazy to come in. The blank. So she's not coming to work. She's lazy. She doesn't want to work. She is a skiver. Skiver. So that's a person who's not at work or school when they should be. It's particularly applied to school children who don't go to school. They're skiving. So it can be used as a verb as well. Vlada deals with any problems that come up quickly and effectively. Everyone agrees that she's So she's quite an efficient person. Clever, I would say. So what do you think is the answer? It is smart cookie. She's a smart cookie. Someone who's got a strong character and who's intelligent. She can deal with problems. She's very clever. Got a good brain. So she's a smart cookie. We can also use the phrase tough cookie if you're a tough person to deal with. If you have a very strong personality, especially in negotiations, you're a tough cookie. You've been sitting in front of the TV for almost 5 hours. You're turning into a... Hit the pause button if you need some time. It's a couch potato. Couch potato. That's someone who spends a lot of time sitting at home watching TV. Not playing on the computer so much on TV, because you're sitting on the couch when you're watching TV. You're sitting on the sofa and you're turning into a potato, often because you're getting fat because you're eating junk food like burgers and pizzas. My boss is a real blank. He pays us peanuts and hasn't given us a pay rise for 3 years. So we won't give them any money. He is, what do you think is the best answer out of the two left? It's Scrooge. He's a real Scrooge. So a Scrooge is someone who likes to keep all of their money, counts their money, doesn't want to spend it, doesn't want to give it to anybody else. It's Scrooge is a character in a novel by Charles Dickens called A Christmas Carol. So the word His surname, Scrooge, has become a word that's often used in English. Alexis is always following the boss around, carrying his briefcase, opening doors for him, and bringing him cups of tea. What a creep. What a creep. That's somebody who tries to please or impress somebody else, especially people in positions of authority. And it's seen in a negative way by everybody else. They don't like Alexis because he's being so nice to the boss. He's trying to get maybe a better job in the company by being a creep. So that's some idiomatic language that you can use to describe some people. And now it's your turn to have a go writing your own mini script. So try and use some of this idiomatic language if you can. Hope that helped.